and welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we're going to talk about the personal arsenal of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Seasons 1 through 3. And so all their successors, whoever held the mantle of the Power Rangers, had these personal weapons. And they would all combine into an even bigger weapon, known simply as the Power Blaster. Now, each of these was individualistic to each of the Rangers. None of the other Rangers could essentially summon these weapons without essentially their own color summoning themselves. Now, they would have name changes as time went on, but it was only through one different episode, and it was forgotten after that, apparently. So, let's start out from the very beginning. The Power Sword. Now, what is the Power Sword? Well, the Power Sword is basically just a sword. It is a bastard sword or a long sword per se. It's not really identified which is which. I want to call it a bastard sword because he mainly uses it as a two-hand weapon and swings down every once in a while. He has sometimes where he has a one-handed style, but he has enough heft on the blade where he kind of needs it, especially when he's charging it up, and it's easy to do so. You just run your, if you're the Red Ranger at least, if you run your finger along the blade, it will power up and charge it with energy that he can send it in a devastating slash of energy towards his enemies. Now, this is used several different times, and it was very functional and a good weapon. It is also the key component to the Power Blaster. And it basically, if the rest of the things could combine, if it didn't have that one, none of the other ones could work together. Though, it's basically saying there, none of the other ones are necessary compared to that. It's probably because of the charge of the weapon itself, because it was able to charge that way with a simple stroking of the blade side, and goes from there and powers up. Now, it is the only other weapon to not get a different name, and it didn't need one with the name Power Sword. Essentially, it was the first one as a Red Ranger going, Power Sword! Yeah, that's it. It's a good name for a sword, Power Sword. The next one up would be none other than the Power Axe, and this is held by the Black Ranger and his successors, and essentially who those are Zach and Adam Park. Now, the personal weapon of the Black Ranger had two different versions of it. It had a blunt damage mode, which is essentially the axe mode, which could be held by one hand in a single-bladed axe, and it could slide over towards, essentially the blade of the axe would slide downward towards the base, converting into a cannon-like weapon that forms the main portion of the Power Blaster. Now, it can be used as a cannon on its own, and was used several different times in different episodes. When they changed it in different drum, the name is called the Cosmic Cannon. Not a bad idea, but when it's used as an axe, it's no longer a power axe. They're not really specifying whether it was called a power axe the entire time, or it was known to be as a Cosmic Cannon, only in cannon form, or what was all going on there. But it's either the power axe or the Cosmic Cannon. Which one do you guys like? I don't know. I like the Cosmic Cannon when it's in cannon mode, but it's kind of dumb to go, this is the Cosmic Cannon, and they just start swinging it. Like, you're not using it as a cannon then, buddy. Next one up is the Power Lance, and this is the personal weapon of the Blue Ranger, Billy. Now, this is a double-bladed lance, as they call it, and it doesn't look like that. It looks like a double-headed trident, and it is when it can split off into two different things called trident-like side blades. Therefore, why are you calling it a Power Lance if it is essentially a trident-like weapon, or just a dual-headed trident? I don't know. I didn't name him, but whatever. So, I guess Power Trident doesn't sound cool, but Power Lance does. Whatever. Well, when it formed into weapons, basically the Blue Ranger could use it in multiple different hands and blast on there. And when he was in a single weapon, he could swing around and have electricity fly off and combined. When it separates, it forms into two of the 5 laser barrels, and when it combining with the other power weapons there, and that's what he used it for. That's what it was there. Now, when it changed names, it was in different drama. It was called the Mighty Mace. Yes, the Mighty Mace. How confusing is this weapon that it looks like a trident, but then it's called a Power Lance, and then it can turn into two trident-like weapons, side blades, and then it's called the Mighty Mace. Yeah, I'm going to leave that with you guys there. After that, it is none other than the Power Daggers. Now, these are essentially two side blade power daggers, or short-bladed daggers, if you don't know what a side blade is, both used as melee weapons as well as projectiles, and she threw them several different times. Now, Trini would use these originally, and it would go on to all the other Rangers that use the blades, but it was not until the different drums that it was named something different, and that was be called the Dino Daggers. And I'm okay with this one. The Dino Daggers is fine. I like that they're called the Dino Daggers. It's very different. They make sense, except the fact that she's a saber-toothed tiger. I would have liked, like, they could have called them, like, the saber fangs or the saber daggers. Like, that'd be cool. Say, oh, they're already called saber swords. Well, no, saber daggers would be fine. Something different. But Dino Daggers, since she's not really a dinosaur herself, since she's a saber-toothed tiger, whatever. But Dino Daggers is not a bad name compared to Mighty Mace. I still don't like that name. I'm never gonna, like, stop talking about that. When they are combined with the rest of the weapons, they're basically just put on there and become the last two of the laser barrels, which will all of them are essentially the Power Lance, Power Dagger, and the Power Sword are all the blasters. With the combination there, the main frame of it all is the Power Axe itself. Now, she could also use a power up themselves and do basically double energy slash, but it's not as seen very often. Basically, it was thrown off here and there, and then mainly they use it to combine to make the Power Blaster itself. Now, the last weapon on this list is the Power Bow, and this is the personal weapon of the Pink Ranger. And it is never seen, basically, her successor's never shown using it. It's only Kimberly who seems to use it. Now, she fires pink energy arrows at her enemies, and she sometimes does it midair. She's like, shoot, doom. Really cool action shots there. It's pretty awesome. And they explode on impact. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but it wasn't coming out of my mouth. Now, she is shown to fight several different enemies doing so, and is basically the bow part is laid sideways and attached like a crossbow to the overall power blaster itself. And I don't really know if the cord on it is pulled back like a crossbow for use. It's never really shown too closely what it is there, but it crosses over the top of the power bow, and then all the blades, all the blaster things are put on top of that. Now, she can use it in the video game. It's shown that she can use it as a melee weapon and the like, but that's basically it. Now, she can also be transformed into a harp, and it has been seen doing that at least once. Now, in different drum, it is called the Battle Bow. And either way, that's still not a bad name. Battle Bow, that makes sense, especially the way she uses it. And I have no problem with that. So that is the 5 personal core weapons of the Power Rangers right there. Now let's go back and review. The Red Ranger's Power Sword, the Black Power Axe, the Blue Power Lance, the Yellow Power Daggers, and the Pink Power Bow, all forming this big weapon known as the Power Blaster. Now, did this get another name switched to it? Kind of, yeah. It was basically, the second team called it the Power Cannon. Not a bad name there. I don't really have a problem with that name. It's either way power. But the reason they had to change the names, and they didn't, only did for one episode though, because it was kind of confusing. But could you imagine saying Power Axe, Power Sword, Power whatever, all of them together, and then go Power Blaster? Whew, that's a lot of oxygen wasted. So there you go. That is the personal weapons of the original 5 Power Rangers. Now these weapons do not combine with the Dragon Daggers. That's why we're not going to talk about that. But we will bring that up in a later episode. Thank you guys very much. Have a good one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys soon. I finally got some new posts up now where I can actually do questionnaires and posts in there, see what you guys want me to talk about. And right now, it seems that you guys want me to talk about villains. Now, I'm going to keep generalizing that. Do you want main villains and stuff like that? I really want to get more information out there, what you guys want to do. But I thought this would be a good way to start the Mondays. Thank you guys. Have a good one. And may the power protect you always.